For the past few years, I've been using more and more standalone and intentional gadgets. And let me tell you, there is something about small cameras that I just can't completely let go of and keep coming back to. And today's video is about one of them. Full disclosure, this video is not sponsored. On the contrary, huge thanks to Fuji and Ricoh for making their cameras more and more expensive and harder to get for the reasonable prices even on the secondhand market. That's what eventually pushed me to try this little guy. You may have seen this camera before. This is Lumix GM1, and to be precise, GM1S. And it's barely bigger than the lens mount itself. Even with a small prime like Panasonic 20mm or the 15mm Leica, you can easily put it in a jacket pocket. You can literally forget that you're carrying a camera. And just like with GR, for me personally, this changes the way how I shoot. Did I say it came out in 2013? Geez, it feels like an eternity ago. I think I was on my full-frame ARC at that time, so I kind of neglected this surprisingly solid little camera. Panasonic cooked on this one. The metal body still feels premium, even by today's standards. That Micro Four Thirds sensor might not be super exciting for some people now, but the color science, the contrast, and especially paired with the right lens, might surprise you in some cases. It's got a really nice feel to it, even despite its age. And speaking about lenses, this is one of the biggest reasons why GM1 still makes sense. You've got access to a whole ecosystem, from compact primes like the Panasonic 20mm 1.7, 14mm 2.5, to even the wonderful Olympus 75 1.8 if you want something longer or you have a bokeh addiction. This system got you covered. The secondhand market for lenses is pretty reasonable, and some third parties still making lenses for this system. For example, the recently released SG Image 25 1.7, I believe, is a solid choice, and it's very affordable. So whether it's casual walks, light hunting, daily chores, or just simply keeping a dedicated camera in your pocket or a bag, in my humble opinion, it's enough for that. I would probably go further and say this is perfect for people who want to document their life. This past year, I was experimenting with mobile photography a lot, more on that in future videos, but there's something about the dedicated camera that do not disturb mode and airplane mode cannot always provide while taking pictures. I found myself shooting again without even thinking about it. So the photos I show you here, they don't pretend to be award-worthy or super clean editorials. They're simply the reflection of my daily vision, a slice of life, if you will. Would I be able to capture those with any other camera or a smartphone? Yes, I probably would, but at that exact moment, it just happened to be this little fella. But of course, just like any other camera, it's not perfect. Far from it. And definitely not for everyone, for sure. The GM1 is over a decade old at this point, and it definitely shows in places. The controls are obviously small and limited. Only one dial, which even on my Ricoh GR3, I never was a big fan of it. Tiny buttons. It's not a camera you can operate blindly straight away. There is definitely a learning curve to it. You need to slow down a little, which is a downside for some people, but might actually be its own charm. The shutter is hybrid, but in a mechanical mode, it only goes to 1/500th of a second, which is is okay, but not perfect by any means. Your flash sync speed, and it has a built-in flash luckily, is only 1/50th of a second, and the pure electronic mode is 1/16,000th of a second. All of this would be fine, but the readout speed is definitely not on the quicker side. So you see where I'm going. In simple words, all you need to know about the shutter, you can get bending under certain lights. And it gets even worse if you decide to adapt any lenses, because in that mode, you can only use the electronic shutter. So you gotta keep that in mind. But it's silent though. Great for street work or quiet places with enough light. Battery life isn't great either. You'll need spares if you're planning a full day out. Just like with many small cameras, I suppose. But the batteries are small enough, and they're also reasonably priced compared to the newer models of the cameras. So throwing a few of them in a backpack or a pocket is not a big deal in my opinion. The screen is fixed and not super bright. Sometimes you'll be guessing the exposure, especially in the harsh daylight. And of course, no EVF. That's where the GM5 clearly has an advantage. But it is like 3x or 4x more expensive sometimes and more rare. So there's that. But you know what? For this camera, I kinda don't care about viewfinder that much. Because thanks to all the practice with the Ricoh GR, I kinda stopped thinking about composition way too much. It just became instinctual at that point. And even though it's a Lumix camera and we expect great things in the video department from Lumix cameras these days, this one was just in the beginning of the road. So there is nothing fancy, just 1080p, no mic jack, no stabe, no LUTs, no log footage, nothing fancy. But in a weird way, it also takes the pressure off. It's a stills camera through and through. But there's a Wi-Fi though, so you can still send your pictures and videos if you want to, which is not that outdated. So yeah, it's not winning any spec wars anytime soon. But that's not the point. What the GM1 really reminds me of is that the cameras don't need to be perfect to make you want to shoot. It's once again about how they make you feel when you use them, and how they change your approach and the way you see things. It's restrictive enough, but still flexible at the same time. Unlike the GR or X100, if you ever get tired of using one lens, you can simply just swap it out and don't pay a premium. This little camera does just that. For me, it slows me down and takes the pressure off, so to speak. It encourages me to switch my mindset from looking for the next masterpiece to noticing light, textures, small moments I'd usually walk past. And here is where the ADHD kicks in and kind of splits my mindset in two ways. And the first one is, it's not about megapixels or frame rates or anything like that. You have to remind yourself that more often. It's about presence, about being there, camera in hand, with no pressure to make something great. Just enjoy the act of photographing. And the second one is, after using it for all this time, I still wish Panasonic hadn't completely left this idea behind. Hope they're cooking. The S9 was a good step in the right direction. The L10, a bit bigger, but okay. Now, imagine a GM2 with a modern sensor, maybe some small stabilization module, hot shoe with a possible external EVF, the OG ideology of the Micro Four Thirds cameras. A true pocket camera. Good time for a comeback. I would probably buy that in a heartbeat, even without video features to keep the size small. Because honestly, the GM1 still works. It's small, quiet, beautiful, and in its own way timeless. But in any case, sometimes the camera that makes you want to shoot again isn't the newest one. It's the one that simply fits your life. So keep shooting with whatever you have and enjoy the fleeting moments.